ROTC. Hi, everybody. Didn't expect a shooting in the middle of the show, did you?
No. I'm sure this is it's a fantastic mood to start everything off.
Hey, Clint, you picked a good day to be on, bud.
Dude, I'm still trying to catch my breath. I had to take out as many people as I could before I got on here. So.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough, man. What's going on, man? This is Clint from Liberty Lockdown. What's going on, man?
I'm sorry, I don't even know what happened, man. There was a shooting. What happened? Give me the background.
Bro, 14 children do it at elementary school, dude.
Man. It's like,
oh my God, that was a terrible joke. How could I do that?
No, I don't care. It's still funny. But look,
I still laughed.
Apparently. I don't know. Like, all I know that it was a Hispanic guy and walked into a school and shot like 14 people, 14 children and one teacher killed. Elementary school, dude. Fuck.
Are we gonna give him a proper intro? It's not like fucking Harrison Smith's popping on.
Hey, look, it's Clint from Liberty Lockdown. He does a show. There you go.
It's not like
good.
Hey, it's not like fucking. It's not like Sword Nerd is in here for the fucking 15th
Harrison
appearance.
Sword Nerd, he's basically just thinks he's the third mic of the show at this point.
I'm your average libertarian nutcase. So even when I see shootings about kids, I just ask myself why the kids weren't armed. That's kind of my
everyone should get guns, and
even children.
My philosophy is if you gave everyone a gun, right? Okay, yeah, shit would get pretty wild for about
a little bit
for about 90 days,
and then guess what?
Yeah.
And then it would settle down,
and that's it.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Everybody that doesn't know how to handle a gun, they're gone after a very limited amount of time, and then everybody else becomes very respectful and responsible, and I think it's just a better world.
By the way, your view is amazing. Can I just say I am
nice.
Fucking jealous of your view? God damn, that's nice.
Yeah, that is a nice setup.
Well, thank you guys. I just moved to Miami like 8 months ago, so I'm it's a better lifestyle than California, thanks to Gavin Newsom, who did his best to ruin my life.
Oh well,
But Miami though.
Yeah, I know. I was actually.
I'm a Tampa boy, man. I'm all about my Tampa.
We hung out at Universal.
I think I'll be joining you.
We hung out at Universal when he was up. We were talking about like you got to move to Central Florida. Central Florida is the best, bro. You're only an hour and a half from each beach, from the Atlantic and from the Gulf. Like, and you don't have to
you have this straight line to Daytona Beach, to fucking Disney World and Universal, and then straight down to Busch Gardens, St. Pete, Tampa. Like fucking, it's pretty nuts.
You don't have to deal with the Cubans.
The old I-4 corridor, baby.
Yeah, no, I think I'm going to end up there eventually, either there or New Hampshire. Like Central Florida or New Hampshire is probably where I ought to be. But I didn't know any better. I was just like, Miami seems nice. I'll check it out. So.
It's still, I'm sure, a step up from Cali. I mean, you're still out of Cali, which is significantly already much better.
Bro,
I already get to keep 16% more of my income, so that's nice.
What part of Cali were you in again?
San Diego.
San Diego.
Which is
very
like
pretty, by the way.
San Diego's
of the
very
most
pretty. Expensive ones,
but
too.
It's super expensive to live there now. It's insane.
Yeah, dude. I'm building 6 houses right now. They're starter homes. They're like approaching $1 million per. It's so insane.
Are you building them like Gerald Ford does? You're out there like hammering like Habitat for Humanity or whatever he does.
No, I'm trying to make as much money as humanly possible.
You really are a libertarian, bro. I feel you.
Are you building little pod houses? Because I know that's the new hot trend, little pod homes. Here's a little closet for you to sleep in, and it's only $1,800 a month.
Oh, I have to ask that question. As a libertarian, how much have you cut yourself because of the Bitcoin market right now? Because I've cut myself a lot. I just want to be.
No, it's a hedge against inflation. That's what they promised. That's
God.
what they told me.
I am hurting. hurting.
Well, this is why I think there's a problem when you have people that are like, they're so dead set on the belief that inflation is inevitable and that you will have no setbacks. And I had been cautioning people. I was like, if there's a liquidity crunch, which is what we're experiencing right now, you will see much lower entry points into Bitcoin. Just so you guys, for those that don't know me, I had a mortgage company. I retired in my 30s. Like I'm kind of a financial guy, so I can speak to this. I was telling people, I was like, you're going to have a lower entry point into Bitcoin. I said this back when it was at like 35, almost over a year ago, before it ran to 70. And then when it ran to 70, everybody's like, dude, look at you. You don't know fucking anything. And I'm like, hey, it's not over yet. And then now we're back into the 20s. So, hey, long enough time horizon, I'm right.
By the way, you've been in Miami too long. You did a great Cuban impression. Bro, like literally, dude, like you don't know what you're talking about, bro. Like that's just crazy, dude.
Oh, it's crazy, but like you could get in lower if you just have a little bit of patience.
It's a little patience, bro.
Bro, try to get Ethereum too, bro. Like that shit is like popping, bro.
Bro, that shit
Ethereum's crazy, man. The gas fees? Are you fucking kidding me?
Anyway, bro, I gotta go work at Dayland Mall, bro. I'm on my way. I'll see you later. Dude.
I remember when crypto was popping a while back, and I was trying to sell shit, and you couldn't even really like. There was like swaps and stuff that you couldn't even do because the gas prices of Ethereum were outrageous. It was insane when it shot all the way up. It was like. I mean, even if I make money on this trade, like the fucking gas fees alone,
well, you know what the good news is though? The stock market's also tanking.
Yeah, at least that's also happening. But hey, at least we're also going to war with Russia.
But you know what's really cool?
Well,
though?
also China.
Hey,
listen,
that's right.
You're a money guy. I'm gonna give you a business hypothetical.
Here you go.
Right?
Here comes a
good one. I want to throw one at you.
I'm excited.
So let's say you take over the country, right? And your first order of business is to stop all local energy production in this country. Then the second step in your plan is to start buying all of your energy and oil from Russia. And then step 3 is to start assassinating Russia's generals.
What do you think?
Do you think that's a good business
You're
model?
a money guy.
I feel like I'd probably get 81 million votes.
and $88 billion.
Most popular president in history.
Don't forget that. $88 billion.
Most popular president in history.
I'm fairly convinced that Joe Biden is either the Antichrist or just like weekend at Bernie'sing us into complete collapse of civilization.
Well, I can assure you, sir, that Joe Biden is not the Antichrist, because if you read the book of Revelation, everyone loves the Antichrist.
That's a good point. The Antichrist
Obama really is the closest we got?
Yeah.
Because everyone liked that dude. You know what I mean?
That's true. That's a good point.
Yeah, Biden is not
really
the
likes
Antichrist.
Biden, so
I think it'll be like DeSantis. You know what I mean? Everything will get really bad, and then DeSantis will just come in and fucking be like, I could clean this whole shit up.
I'd let him. I would accept the Antichrist if he keeps Florida. I don't give a fuck. Leave Florida alone, bro.
He makes everyone get the mark of the beast except people from Florida, because he's like, you guys were my homies.
Yeah, you guys are cool. You guys are cool.
That's what I moved here for, is just so I could have the protection of Daddy DeSantis, man. It's crazy.
Dude. I mean, you think he's gonna run for president? What do you think?
I think he will, but my expectation is he's probably not running in 24. I think 28 is
I think 20 because he's young. He's young, and honestly, right now, like the governor of Florida has done more to affect national politics than Trump did in 4 years. Like, honestly, if you think about it, like, remember, he's the one that ended the mask mandate, travel mandate, and he goes, okay, you know what? I got rid of it. You go ahead and tell them they have to put their mask back on. I fucking dare you. You know,
Dude, I think between him and the Canadian trucker protests, I think those were like the two things that were the turning point. And you said he's done more for freedom or impacting the culture in America than Biden. He's done more for the globe. I honestly think that if it weren't for Florida's example, there's a decent chance that much of the world is still locked down. It was a really big turning point because it got to demonstrate, like, scientifically, that these lockdowns and mandates and everything else were not fucking working. Had we not had a case study where we could actually prove that this is all insanity and that we shouldn't be going down this path, I'm not sure that they would have stopped.
By the way, how awesome is it that us Floridians were like, yeah, we'll happily be the guinea pigs. Just let us do whatever the fuck we want.
Yeah,
like, we volunteered. We're like,
COVID.
That's fine. We'll get COVID. Leave me alone, though.
I was running around in San Diego, fucking licking door handles, making out with homeless dudes. Like, I was trying to get COVID. I couldn't get it. Like, for the life of me, I can't get this shit. I'm fucking immune, I swear.
Some people aren't gonna get you. You know what? You might have even had it and not known it. You might want to be asymptomatic, because I know a lot of people that ended up getting it and they were fine. You know.
Yeah, I also gotta say I enjoy DeSantis for how he's literally just standing up to all these companies that try to bully politicians all the time. Like when he did the mask mandate thing, and he's like, we're not going to make vaccine mandates here. And then Carnival Cruise and Royal Caribbean were like, we're leaving Florida. And he's like, I fucking dare you.
Yeah, that's true.
And then they were like, man, we looked into the cost analysis. There's no way we're leaving Florida. Yeah, I knew you were never leaving Florida, stupid. And then Disney started their shit. And he's like, you know what? Maybe you don't get to have your own imperial district here in Florida anymore. Like, you know what I mean?
Have you seen they've kept their mouth shut about abortion now? Disney hasn't said a goddamn word. They're like, I don't care. Look, you listen. Leave me alone, bro. We have our own fucking problems right now.
At some point, the CEO of Publix is going to get pissed at DeSantis, and he's going to be like, you know what I think? And his wife's going to grab his hand and go, baby, shut up. Just shut up. Just shut the fuck
up.
No,
I actually love it. And this has been a a major point of contention amongst the libertarian community, because normally we defend business against government. But in this situation, because these businesses are so deeply in bed with government, I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Like, DeSantis can tell them whatever the hell he wants as far as I'm concerned, because they're doing the bidding of the federal government. And that's not libertarian either. So
yeah, and the Disney thing too, it was literally Disney was being allowed to be a massive corporation, pay no taxes, and to also be their own government.
Right.
And it was like, okay, you can't have both. You got to pick.
You
got to pick
all
one.
of this.
You got to pick
have
one.
all of this and talk my kids into chopping their genitals off like that. There's got to be a line here somewhere.
But that's the thing, though. That's the exact point. Like, it's like now that whole is like, oh, when they take down Google's a private company, are they though? Because they get non-compete government contracts, they get tax breaks, they work with senators. It's like everything is so mushed together now, right? Where you're like, where does the government end and where does Google begin? Honestly, like that to me, or Amazon's another great example. It's like the guy owns the Washington fucking Post, you know?
Yeah. Well, and same with Twitter, same with Facebook. Like all these companies have contracts with the NSA to spy on us.
Oh yeah.
Like if you think they're not getting compensated for that, and then on top of that, they get dragged, on Capitol Hill before the politicians, where they instruct them on their censorship policies. I'm sorry, but that's a violation of the First Amendment right there. You cannot instruct private business to censor me and then expect me to buy the fact that that's a private business making that decision. No, that's not how it works. You have violated the First Amendment just by coercing these businesses into doing that. So I don't run any cover for these businesses anymore. Zero.
Look at what the EU's doing. Where we talked about on the show, the EU's trying to pass these laws that if Twitter wants to be allowed there, they have to abide by their hate speech laws. So it's a workaround where it's like either, okay, Twitter can't be in Europe, or they have to put these hate speech laws into place.
Well, and then there's that, and there's also when they say, well, it's a private company, bro. And you're like, yeah, but we now live in this weird, like, dystopian future hellscape where like 7 companies are umbrella companies that own everything.
Yeah.
So there is no competition anymore. It's not like all this private business is like, doing whatever they want. It's if you like, for instance, you make an app like Twitter and you like, all right, we're going to have Twitter, but I'm going to allow free speech, whatever. And immediately you're taking off fucking the Google Play Store,
Apple Store.
the Apple Store. Like, so there's too much of that. Like, everyone's gotten way too big. Every government's gotten way too big. Every corporation's gotten too big. And
those businesses have only gotten as big as they have because of the government, because of their relationship to the government. Your point is exactly correct, though, that you said those 7 companies. I talk about 3 in particular, which is BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard.
BlackRock,
those
baby.
Those 3 ETFs. I mean, BlackRock alone owns over 5% of 1,400 different major corporations in the world. I mean, that is insane. You never had any sort of businesses historically that had that kind of financial control. And while they're money managers, so it's not all their assets, but they still have voting rights for that capital. So they get to dictate what all of those 1,400 companies do. And more than that, they get to dictate what companies they haven't invested in yet will do, because they want that funding of that $10 trillion plus from BlackRock. So they have so outsized power that they have to be stopped somehow. I don't know exactly how, other than diversify from the dollar, Bitcoin, whatever.
Goldman Sachs bought an entire neighborhood here in Florida. Did you see that? Goldman Sachs has bought an entire neighborhood.
Yeah, they're like, hey, can we just have southwestern Volusia County? And
they're like,
sure,
sold. There you go, it's all yours. And that's the thing, and that's it's funny because the whole thing, like, then with the Disney thing, it was hilarious because they were like, oh, these counties, they're gonna have to pay the debt. Disney's still trying to be the good guy, like, going, look, we're saving you money. If this deal is so shitty for you, Disney, why are you fighting for it so hard, right? But then DeSantis goes, no, the state will just take over Reedy Creek. Don't worry, it won't be discharged to the counties. And also the firefighters said they were gonna be fired. We're gonna be giving them a raise. And then they're like, fuck, now what?
DeSantis is good, man.
Yeah.
Like whatever disagreements I have with him, and I do have a few.
Israel?
He is really good. Yeah, Israel's the main one. Just his defense of it, and it's like, look, they can defend themselves. They got nukes. Like,
yeah, but
we don't need to continue to fund them. But it's not about
Florida.
Israel. It's about, I don't believe in
Israel's.
exporting aid to anybody. We're falling apart as a nation right now. It's insane.
Why? Africa exports AIDS to us all the time. What are you talking about? It's fucking terrible. Monkeypox? Hello. No, but
we also get really hardcore drugs, which people overdose on from China. So yeah, we get a few exports. That's true.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
you gotta. When you're in Florida, though, you're not going to be governor unless you cozy up with some Jews.
You have to, man. It's a lot of Jews
That's a
in
fact.
Florida.
It's you know what I mean. So it is what it is. But I do enjoy. I enjoy the fact that I think that Trump sometimes didn't. I know the whole meme was 4D chess,
Right.
but I don't really think he always thought 3 steps ahead. DeSantis does seem to think like steps ahead. So it's like, I'm going to do this knowing that their reaction is going to be this. And then it's like more of a chess game. And then it's like, when they do this, then I'm moving this piece. But they don't realize I've already figured out when I do that, I already know what they're going to do then. And that's how he's just made Disney and all these people spiral. It's just like, I knew you were going to go for that. And guess what? Now
if
you
Trump
don't have
was
a
doing
special
40
district.
chess, DeSantis is 5D for sure. Like this guy is. I think he is what the MAGA movement thought Trump was, which Trump wasn't. Which is a really shrewd guy. Like he honestly is thinking ahead. He is game planning every cultural battleground before he even steps into it. He absolutely thinks these things out. When he stripped Disney, I mean, Disney's a huge company in Florida. Like that could have backfired tremendously.
Oh yeah,
and it didn't. So he's very smart in how he's handling it.
Yeah. It's the when he was just like, then fucking leave.
And I do like that he's given Trump the old Heisman Trophy stiff arm.
Yeah, it's true.
You notice
he's trying to keep that dirt off of him.
Even when they're at the same events and stuff, it's like there's no photo ops with Trump. There's none of that. Like he's just like, nah, man, I'm kind of doing my own thing, man. That's cool. It's good to see you, though. Good to see you, man. I hope your wife's good. How's Barron? Good? Great. Okay. See you later, bro. I got to socially distance because of the COVID. He's just dipping out. Like, I'm not getting all your stink on me, bro. I'm not doing it.
Speaking of heel turns, what do you think about Ted Cruz? What a heel turn on that guy, huh?
Is it a heel turn? I mean,
he was always that way. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah. In my experience, Ted has been a fucking shit lib his entire life, and no disrespect to the great state of Texas, but I don't know why they've had this guy.
You mean the purple state of state of Texas?
Well, you don't like you don't like being called a terrorist?
Oh, that's right. When he called the January 6 people terrorists, that was one of the
by literal Republicans now being like these terrorists, and you're like,
he's like,
voted
I'm like,
for
Ted,
you.
Do you know how many people probably voted for you that were in that crowd? Like,
Yes.
what are you talking about, man? Yeah, it's crazy. And Ted's been a warmonger as long as he's been in power. So like that didn't surprise me that he's on board with shipping billions to Ukraine. I mean, these guys are really trying to start World War III. Like I know we talk about it and we could joke about it and we will, I'm sure, but they're trying to start World War III.
Lindsey Graham literally went on TV and begged Russians to kill Putin.
And let me
explain
to you.
I remember watching that live. And I sat with my jaw open. The whole chat just kept saying, dead air, dead air, dead air. Because we watched it live, and I sat there with my jaw open like frozen. It was just like, oh, my God.
It's astonishing. Lindsey Graham, he is so deeply in the closet. He is projecting all of his angst about his homosexuality onto the world, and we may all die because of it. I don't know if people understand how dangerous it is for people to be in the closet their entire life.
Honestly, I think it should just be like, dude, we don't care if you suck dick. Can we stop killing 18-year-old soldiers, please? Thank you. Yeah. That'd be like, awesome.
As soon as John McCain passed and he no longer had his butt buddy, he was like, I am going to kill the world if it's the last thing I do. I swear that's like Lindsey Graham's modus operandi.
I cannot stand that guy. He leaned into the fucking casket and kissed him on the forehead, and he was like, don't worry, Johnny, baby. I'm going to finish what you started.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Somber music playing in the background.
He went in after the funeral was over and was like, just give me a minute with him. And he's like, don't worry, buddy. We're going to finish this thing for you. I got this new boy. I got this new handsome young boy with an eye patch, and he's going to help me.
Bro.
I can imagine John McCain's just talking up to him from hell going, there's nothing but Muslims down here. You got to stop sending them to me.
Let me tell you something, by the way. Can I say the one who's going to be let me tell you about the Antichrist, okay? This guy right here, he is. Dan Crenshaw is fucking pure
Think
evil.
about it as the Antichrist, right? He's got an eye patch. So it's like, if he becomes it, then it's like, how did we not see
We
this
should know,
coming,
right? The guy had an eye patch. We should have known.
Something's always off.
It's like seeing Klaus Schwab and not just automatically assuming that he's a evil villain.
Oh, or Soros. Soros is another one where you're like, that's a bad guy, right?
I mean, he looks like a bad guy.
I don't know how they see Klaus in his like Sith Lord outfit, and they don't just automatically assume like, yeah, this guy when he talks about saving the world, he doesn't mean it.
Yeah, Klaus Schwab has a fucking a face that looks like an antique plague mask from like the turn of the century.
It's fucking bad, dude. I'm telling you, man. Crenshaw is. Remember, I'm sure you saw the video when he yelled at that kid, right? When Crenshaw yelled at the 12-year-old, like, what the fuck is wrong with you, dude?
He's like, don't challenge my
faith.
my religion, my faith, or whatever. It was like, oh my God.
He bowed up on like a 12-year-old girl, and I'm like, wow, it's a tough dude there, huh?
It was at his rally.
Yeah, it's a fundraiser for him.
She's just lucky that he didn't have a drone in the air. He would have fucking taken her out.
Fucking Christ. Oh, man. That and then fucking Hannity basically going like, Kathy was at January 6th, so there's no way that I'm like, what the fuck's happening? Bro,
Hannity's pushing for more 3-letter agencies to be formed just so he can get more pins on his lapel.
Right.
He's like, I'm not working for enough 3-letter agencies. I want this whole thing filled up like I'm a fucking North Korean general. You need to form more agencies.
Oh, okay, now I want to find out how libertarian Clint is. I like playing this game because there's libertarian people think, oh, you're a libertarian, you're one thing. There's a lot of different type of libertarians I've learned. Left-leaning ones are the worst. But anyway, let me ask you, immigration. You're for it, you get it.
Well, I don't hate immigration just across the board. I think that there are many great immigrants to this country, but I am also not an open borders libertarian where
there it is.
You just let everyone come in and you just deal with whatever problems come from that. I think that's also insane. And for the longest time, that has been the Libertarian Party's position, that they were open borders, and I could not disagree more. I think that you have to end the war on terror, the war on drugs, all these other status problems that have created millions of refugees that would flood here.
Excuse me, the war on drugs is going great, okay? Nobody's dying from drugs anymore.
Nope,
all right, Nancy Reagan won, bro.
Fentanyl is not the number 2 killer of adults 18 to 40.
It's fucking everything has fentanyl in it. Halloween candy may have fentanyl. Xanax has fentanyl in it, and I'm like, oh fuck.
My Dunkin' Donuts coffee had fentanyl in it the other day.
I know.
I just fell asleep in my car for like a half hour.
It's true. He was doing the show. He was nodding in and out.
They had to come give me one of those Narcan pens so I could come do the show.
It's fucking terrible.
I mean, as unsuccessful as the war on drugs has been, I think the war on terror is equally unsuccessful. You have Yemen, Somalia, Syria, all these other countries that looked like they were okay, and now we're at war with them too. Not to mention Europe, which is being overran by immigration from refugees from these war-torn countries, which we continuously bomb. It's just, I mean, Ron Paul was right. I mean, that's just a fact.
Ron Paul's been right about a lot of stuff. And what bothers me is that we always joke about it, but like whenever you try to fight them about censorship, they all turn into Ron Paul just for that issue. Like, it's a private company. Like, you used to yell at me when I said that. You used to yell at me, you fucking commie. You don't get to tell me that now.
Man,
don't let them use our defense. They don't believe it. They don't mean it. Yeah. Just keep it moving. They don't mean any of that shit.
Remember when he was polling like second and third, and like they just wouldn't say his name. Like it would be up on the chart on TV, and they would just not say his name, and you're like,
even Jon Stewart.
Jon Stewart was the one that was like, behind who?
Behind who? Dude, it's fucking, it's bad. I know you're at that big libertarian convention coming up here, right? Like you're a big shot in that community.
Yeah. I'm going to be in Reno Thursday through Monday, where we get to
Reno. Don't rub your money in our face. Reno? Wow. Okay, millionaire. I didn't know you were going to Reno.
Hey, I didn't fucking decide where they're putting it. I don't know why. I don't know why it's in Reno either. It makes it for a dual stop flight.
The biggest little city in the world. Yeah. Why?
No idea.
What's more libertarian than Reno, though?
Vegas is only a couple of hours from there. It's probably more expensive to fly into Reno. I don't even understand this.
Oh, it's definitely more expensive for us to fly in, but I would imagine that
there's like 3 casinos there. There's more casinos in Biloxi.
Okay, look. Hey, next year convention, Biloxi, Mississippi. Let's go. We'll go to that. I'll go to Biloxi.
All right, I'm down. I would rather have it like
Shreveport,
let's move it to Mardi Gras. Let's party this motherfucker up. Yeah, so there's going to be 1,000 delegates. I'll be one of them. I get to vote on the entire platform and who's going to be the national representatives for the Libertarian Party. So the Mises Caucus is like Dave Smith's and a bunch of other people's brainchild, where we're essentially the Ron Paul revolution is back and we're taking over the Libertarian Party. So that's what's happening. I hope that we'll be successful. It looks like we will, but the votes don't come down until this weekend.
It is funny watching the Libertarian Party have been trying to, for like a couple of years now, they've been trying to immunize themselves against all these Mises guys. And it's funny how these guys stopped acting like libertarians and started being all like political operatives and shit. And it was like really funny to see it.
Well, that's fascinating that you actually even caught wind of that. How'd you hear about that?
Oh, I mean, I've been following the I lean libertarian. I'm not a libertarian.
Okay.
I'm a Republican, but I mean, I lean more, on the liberty side of most issues. And I follow Dave Smith, and I follow, I've been following his constant fighting with people on Twitter with people in the party, and it's kind of fun to watch because he says shit that makes sense, and then they just fucking spurg out on him.
He is very reasonable, too. His argument's always really reasonable.
Yeah, he's
not
not
aggressive or
with.
anything.
No.
And they're like, you piece of shit, you fascist. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's been fun to watch. And then you have libertarians bringing up like Legion of Skanks and stuff.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Oh, yeah, because you're just on some racist podcast. And you're like, we're doing that now? We're doing that now?
We're doing the racist thing now?
Well, this is why the purge was necessary, is because you had people that don't believe in freedom of speech or freedom of association or any of that. They don't believe in those things, which are core libertarian principles and also conservative ones. And many of them were formerly Democrat or liberal ones too, but they've completely done away with that. But you're right. They showed their true colors. They really took the mask off, and they were booting entire groups of Mises Caucus people from state affiliation. They were doing all sorts of like crazy,
which that helps your third party get votes.
Guys, that's not very, I don't know, libertarian of them.
No.
I mean, that's like literally the opposite of what libertarian means.
That's a great idea, though. Hey, we have a third party that's struggling to gain a foothold in this country. We should kick out everyone that doesn't agree with me.
By the way, one of the people who, by the way, is a huge comic that everybody knows now is hilarious to me. It's like, we don't want that national exposure. Where's Gary Johnson? Is he still around? Gary.
Not Gary Johnson. Who was the old talk show guy? Daryl something. The guy, he's from the old libertarian debates. But he's like, what's next? A license to own a damn toaster oven? That weirdo.
Yes, that guy
was my favorite. Yeah. like all these cartoon character guys that they run, and you're like, I mean, can you let the young like Jewish married father who actually can speak well? Can you give him a shot? I mean, he's kind of funny and he might win people over.
That's the greatest part about it, is he is just overwhelmingly persuasive. He's probably the best messenger for libertarianism in my lifetime. No disrespect to Ron Paul. Dave has the capacity to reach anybody. He's been on Joe Rogan 7 times.
That's
He's
true.
spoken to tens of millions of people. He's opened more eyes about the atrocities of the war in Yemen than any human being on earth. I mean, you cannot, like, I don't know how they can fail to appreciate what he's accomplished for the libertarian cause, and yet they would gleefully see him excommunicated. It's just insane. So that's what we're going to Reno to fix.
Like every movement, like, man, look at Tea Party is a great example of something that started with good intentions, and then it turns into this weird money making boomer fest. Then you're selling Tea Party pillows, and that's just what happened. Occupy Wall Street is another one that good intentions, and then it turns into like, yeah, man, drum circle. Let's do ayahuasca here in front of Wall Street, and I'm like, okay, I get it. That sounds fun, but how is that going to stop the banks? You know what I mean?
Right.
But
and it is good to just see libertarians get away from like the porn stars and the guy with a boot on his head and the fucking, you know what I mean? People showing up in Darth Vader costumes and just all the weird cartoon characters that would always pop up. Yeah. It's like, oh, thank God, just get these guys
for a while there. The libertarians did have like
the rent is too damn high guy.
Had 80s wrestling gimmicks is what the Libertarian Party was turning into.
It was, and I get it. When you're a third party, you're going to do outlandish shit to try and get attention, but when the world is falling apart, you don't need to put a boot on your head to get people to pay attention to you. You just have to tell the truth.
By the way, that's a really good point. We can't feed babies. I mean, the boot on the head's hilarious, but there's no food for babies
we
now.
have no baby formula.
Yeah.
Or you get the libertarians.
There's a reason we don't have baby formula. It's because you didn't listen to the libertarians, because you locked down the fucking economy, and that was a catastrophic mistake that anybody that has any semblance of economic understanding knew right away was going to result in inflation and fucking supply chain shortages and everything else that we're experiencing today. And the libertarians were the only ones that were actually speaking out against it for the most part. I mean, there was obviously some Republicans that did too, but the libertarians, like, that's our bread and butter, man. Like, we know you cannot fuck with the economy and expect not to pay a price. And they didn't listen to us, and now we're paying the price. So now we get to go up on and say, hey, we were warning you 2 years ago. Maybe you should consider our ideas a little bit more deeply. And I hope that we can do that in the near future.
Yeah, but here's the problem: how much money do you give the Google? See, that's how you decide. Yeah, that's who decides the real elections. How much money do you give the Facebook?
You're right, but I think that this is the good thing about the continued suppression of speech across all these platforms, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, everywhere else, is that it's forcing people to seek out, fringe shows like yours and mine and Dave's and all these other, and now Rogan is the biggest platform you can possibly be on, and he's essentially independent. Like they've already tried to cancel the guy, and Spotify told him to kick rocks. This dude has too many eyeballs on him.
They gave him all $200 million. They're not gonna dump a $200 million guaranteed contract because two blue-haired trans people at Spotify got mad. Sorry.
To be fair, though, they have taken down episodes.
Well,
Joe did that though.
Joe did though. To be fair, to be fair, that was his compromise. There were certain episodes that he took down. Like the Owen Benjamin episodes are not on Spotify, for example. Is one I could think off the top of my head of somebody that's not on there. Who are the other one though? The black, not the Black Rifle Coffee guy, the other guy, the On It guy that was talking about like medical misinformation. That episode was taken off. So there's a few that he has taken off himself. But I think the Joe Rogan thing is like, trust me, look. There's a lot of reasons to make fun of Joe Rogan, okay? But that being said, it is funny seeing them coming after a guy who's really a middle-of-the-road dude. Like, Joe Rogan's a middle-of-the-road guy, right? For the most part. He had Bernie Sanders on his show. You know what I mean?
He endorsed Bernie, basically.
Yeah,
I mean, he loves the guy. So, yeah, he's really the everyman, as weird as that sounds, because he's such a wealthy human being.
Well, I'm sorry. Yeah, most everyman have 3 salt tanks in their mansion. You're right.
But I'm saying ideologically, like he leans left, he leans right. He's got differences of opinion, and what I think makes him really valuable is that because he is so financially well off now, and because he does think freely, that platform is invaluable. I mean, it's the biggest platform maybe ever.
Oh, so here's a question. You just reminded me. So you tweeted out last week, Brendan Schaub is the funniest comedian of our lifetime. Out of the way, George Carlin. What did you mean by that?
Fucking say that.
Why would you say something so brave yet so controversial?
Yeah, why was it so brave and said so controversial, dude?
I just watched the George Carlin documentary last night, and I realized that I use Carlin's argumentation against war constantly. And it's all just through the ether from like watching him as a child, and I put these arguments into my brain, and now I use them without even like citing the guy. So
you know what's funny? The guy that runs Carlin's estate is a fan of our show for real, and he sent us like a bunch of George Carlin shirts and shit. It was actually pretty cool. Yeah, he's like, yeah, he would have really liked you guys. I'm like, probably not, but okay, man. I don't think Carlin liked anybody.
Yeah, glad you like us. That was cool, but
that was
I don't
cool.
think you
well, getting to watch him watch that documentary. It's on HBO Plus if anybody wants to check it out. It is phenomenal. Like you get to watch his entire career arc, his entire life arc, and man, what a genius! What a profound thinker. Even though I strongly disagree with him on many things, just absolutely brilliant. I can't speak highly enough about that.
I know you're more of a Hannah Gatsby guy. You're more of a Nanette guy, but that's pretty cool for you. I'm just gonna make up these rumors where you leave and go, "Hey man, I heard Clint from Liberty Lockdown like really likes the net. I don't know why he's into that. It's fucking weird."
Well, I gotta come out of the closet. I was a big Fighter and the Kid fan back in the day.
I'm so sorry. Look, we've always said this, and we've said this many times. Brian Callen is very funny. Okay,
he is.
He's funny.
Okay, Brian Callen's funny. Mercer's, but Brian Callen's funny. We agree on that. Brennan Schaub's the stupidest person that's ever lived on this planet. And I'm not saying it's not even his fault. I think he has CT. I think he got punched. He got punched into stupidity. But then when he started like suing people, I'm like, all right, man, they're just making fun of you. Your special sucks, bro. I don't know what to tell you, man.
Oh man, when I heard that he was suing people for, like small YouTube channels and shit, I was like, oh brother, that you are losing all respect from me right now. That's just absolutely horrific. And they weren't even saying, like, all they're saying is your comedy sucks, which it does. Like he's a funny guy on podcasts in my opinion, but his stand-up is fucking really not very good.
Gringo,
it's just really not
Gringo
good.
Poppy was you wasn't
Pico when you didn't like when he was naming all the foods.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of that.
I mean, it's like C- tier, like it's like barely above open micer. And and I'm a huge fan of comedy, so like I could still see it and go like, all right, yeah, you were a heavyweight fighter, you were a contender in the UFC, you've only been doing comedy 3 or 4 years. Just stop doing specials. Like I think he could actually get to a point of being funny, maybe, but like he's just not there yet.
No, he's brain dead, dude. We watched a clip of him when he first came into Ultimate Fighter when he was a young guy.
Dude, he talks like a different person.
He was totally a different person. Like he got punched into retardation.
Like the Muhammad Ali thing, or the boxer from Death to Smoochie.
Yeah, Brendan Schaub's basically fuck, what's his name? Spinner Dunn.
Yeah, Spinner Dunn, yeah.
Smoochie! That's him every time he sees Rogan at the Comedy Store. Hey, it's Rogan! How you doing, Rogan?
Honestly, I think his entire career, like,
he's like, "Hey, what's going on, Brendan?" No, I'm Brendan.
His entire career is based off the fact that Rogan feels bad for him because he saw his brain get destroyed live in front of him for his entertainment, and now he's trying to help the guy out.
Maybe it's because like years ago he's like, I don't know, man, I lost a couple fights, and Rogan's like, man, you just got to train hard and stick with it, and then he got totally retarded after that, and Rogan just has felt responsible ever since.
Look, we don't know, man.
You please continue to impersonate Brendan Schaub.
I'm Spinner. Hey, what's up, Bobby Lee? Just running around like, oh god. They're like, we just keep him around the store at this point as like a mascot.
Yeah.
Running around in capri pants.
With his sneakers on his table, whatever, man.
Hate him.
Anyway,
he tried to fuck Bobby Lee's chick.
Dude, I know that was one of the best things when he was like, he asked for like a blowjob or whatever, and then they outed him on their Trash Tuesday show, which sucks because it's women talking, so it's terrible. And then the whole thing started where he got an investigative team that thought Bobby Lee was behind a threat to his family's life on Reddit, and when they asked him for for proof, it was just a bunch of HTML code with somebody named Robert Lee.
Dude, I swear, man, there's some of these guys always do that. They'll be like, people threaten me or people write these things, and it's like, okay, well then you shouldn't be doing internet content because if you have more than 100 followers, eventually you're going to start getting, I'm going to fucking kill you. You know what I mean? Like, it's inevitable.
I get threats. Like, of course he gets threats. What are we even talking about? Like, I don't even understand. And he's also, like, one of the most dangerous human beings on Earth. Like, no one could actually mess with him in combat. So, and he's got money. Just buy security. I don't understand.
Well, because I think he wants to be known as something other than the fighter, right? Other than a UFC guy. He wants to, break that mold, and he thinks that he's probably been told by his other friends in the locker room that, hey, you're a funny guy, you should do stand-up. We lie to people. And then we do. And then he goes, and I think the reason people are mad is not that he's not funny, because he's not funny, and that's fine. You don't have, some people aren't, right? But it's the fact that there's comedians that we know are way funnier that are working hard, and they didn't get a Showtime special because they're Joe Rogan's friend. I think that is why people are mad. I think people are like, all right, man, but you like leapfrogged everybody, and now you go, you take with your Porsche, you go park up front, and you take the front spot at the comedy club. People got mad.
And I think all that would have been forgiven if he went on Showtime and just fucking nailed it.
If he killed, if he would have killed on Showtime,
then you go, all right, all's forgiven. Maybe you did leapfrog people, but fuck them. But the fact that he leapfrogged everyone just to get on Showtime, just to pull his pants down and piss and shit on the stage. You know what I mean? It's like, well, why? This is why other people didn't get their thing.
Yeah,
like they were planning the event, and And Brennan goes to the producer. He's like, "Hey, make sure that you put a bed up there on the." And the producer's like, "On the stage?" And he's like, "Yeah, put it up there. I'm gonna shit that motherfucker." And like that. That seems like that was his actual plan, was to just go up there and do the worst stand-up humanly possible. I don't know how he's friends with, you know, really funny people like Theo Vaughn and all these other guys that are just incredibly hilarious, and yet none of them came to him and said, "Brother, you ain't ready. You ain't ready for a special right now."
No, because
like I don't understand how that's possible.
L.A. is all about L.A. and New York are very different beasts. And in New York, they all trash each other.
They're
all friendly, but they're all mean to each other. In L.A., they're all fake nice to each other. None of them trash each other. It's all very much an L.A. vibe. And so, yeah, I'm sure nobody went up to him and said, this isn't good. In New York, he would have gotten better because people would have been like, you did a whole bit about fucking Mexican food, just saying it funny? You should fucking quit, stupid. Hang yourself when you get home tonight. It made people better, you know?
Maybe he thinks that comedy's an STD. That's why he's trying to fuck all these comics' wives. Did you think about that?
Yeah.
Think about that. Maybe he's smarter than all of us.
He's trying to catch Bobby Lee's funny.
Yeah, but he's smarter than all of us.
Watch out, Will Sasso's wife.
Who else was on Mad TV that he's coming after?
Yeah, I mean, if I could
Brian Callen's sister.
If I could sexually contract someone's funny level, I would definitely go after whoever Will Sasso's there.
Yeah.
That's true.
Only funny
Will
one
Sasso's
on that
hilarious.
He's the funniest person ever, and it's a crime that he's not like the biggest fucking name.
Brendan Schaub is stalking Phil Lamar's ex-girlfriend's house. Phil Lamar, that's right. He was on Mad TV. I know all the deep cuts, bro.
That was actually a good reference.
Deep cut, brother.
Phil Lamar is a good reference.
Yeah, Phil Lamar, man. He does a bunch of voices now, I think.
Fox's Tim Meadows.
Yes. Oh, man, Tim Meadows was on SNL for like 500 years. Pete Davidson's left. He's leaving SNL. Did you see that?
I know.
And Kate McKinnon, they're gone. This is their last season.
Oh,
you know what?
God forbid.
Everybody's celebrating the fact that he's not on SNL anymore. And I'm going to tell you all right now, hold your fucking horses. Because I have a feeling this means we're going to be seeing more of Pete Davidson.
Yep. We're going to get a lot of Pete Davidson movies. We're going to get a lot of Pete Davidson TV shows. And we're going to get probably some sort of HBO Max spin-off Pete Davidson sketch show or something.
Yeah, because SNL keeps them tight. Like, they're not allowed to do a lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
And now it's just going to be non-stop Pete fucking Davidson.
Yep.
I don't know if funny is necessarily contagious, but I think you can actually lose funny by fucking too many hot broads, because Pete has he's gone downhill pretty aggressively since he got every starlet on the planet.
He's never been
just
funny,
whatever.
in my opinion.
You thought he was funny? I never thought.
I thought he was all right.
I don't know. I don't.
I think he's the worst thing to have come from 9/11.
That is true. That is true. 9/11
and that's including the TSA.
Oh, really? Wow, that's a fucking high bar.
If I could trade him for his father, I would. I'll say that.
Fucking trust me. I think his dad would say that too if he was around.
Probably
Probably
would be better on SNL.
Have you seen King of Staten Island? No amount of Bill Burr's gonna fix that movie, Pete. Sorry, buddy. No amount of Bill Burr's gonna fix it.
Yeah, sorry. Not even Dave Cyrus can write you out of this one.
I think that's probably the woke takeover of comedy.
Funny.
Yeah.
The aspect of wokeness taking over comedy that's offended me most is that people like Will Sasso and Bill Burr and all these other geniuses aren't like the biggest thing out there because they're so fucking funny.
Bill Burr, Bill Burr's funny. Bill Burr's getting a lot of TV now, though. He's been in like
That's
movies.
true.
He was in Star Wars now.
He married a black woman, so he was grandfathered in.
It's so funny you said that. That's exactly what we say too. It's like, yeah, we know why you're still getting invited to parties, Bill. We've heard some of the old stuff, and let's put it this way: you didn't used to say Mary. You used to say a different word that you called people, and it wasn't Mary, buddy, was it? But anyway, it was fag. But anyway. I just want to make sure some people don't even know. Maybe Brendan Schaub's listening. Dude, 2 hours. That was a lot of fun, man. Thanks for being on.
I've been on for 2 hours.
No, you've been on for an hour, but 2 hours of our show. You were in the second hour.
Oh,
yeah.
We're at
got you. Well, thank you for having me, guys. You do a great show. So
can we get all the how do we get them? And
yeah, that's what I was about to ask right now. Where can they find you?
I'm on YouTube, so search Liberty Lockdown. You'll find me.
Is that an app?
Also on Twitter.
YouTube?
What's that?
Is it an app? YouTube? I've never heard of it. Is it?
How do I get? Can I get YouTube on my phone?
Can you get YouTube on your phone? It's a Nokia. How does it work?
I think it's this new upstart. I think they plan to not do anything evil. So
okay, cool.
It should be
as
good.
long as they promise it and never take that out of their name. I'll agree with you. Sorry, you Liberty Lockdown on YouTube. Where else can they find you?
At Liberty Lockpod on Twitter, and then just search Liberty Lockdown elsewhere. Clint Russell doesn't come up on most search shit because I was in the closet about my full name back in the day. So just search Liberty Lockdown, you'll find me. But thank you guys for having me. This was fucking hilarious.
Is a lot of fun, man. Thanks for coming on, man. You're welcome on anytime. Okay,
and vice versa.
Yeah,
cool.
I mean, not like every day.
Every day,
that would be weird.
you're here
then
now.
He would just be the co-host.
Right?
But yeah, I mean, anytime, like
Do me a
spread
favor.
out like everyone else.
Call Dave and tell Dave you can't make it to Reno. You got a new gig.
Yeah,
this is a verbal contract. I'm in here.
Tell him we're headed to Biloxi.
Yep, we'll go to Biloxi with the boys. Sorry, can't make it to your little conference. All right, bud, take it easy, dude.
Peace out.
See ya. All right, and there he goes. Man, that was great.